What is going on?
Here.
What is going on?
It says you're live again.
Oh boy, I don't trust it.
Okay, I see you.
I don't see a 2-minute long video on mine. I give up. Are people here? You think we're good now? Wouldn't that be nice? Seriously, man, we get a brand new freaking computer and it crashes 4 times and... Hi again. What's going on? Does it sound bad?
No.
I know, seriously, Libby. Seriously, Libby. But if nothing else, this makes my chat engagement go way up. Because everyone's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Do I sound terrible?
Sorry for the noise I'm making the microphone make. It's just...
Chris is fiddling. It says there's 1 person in here, so...
Okay.
Oh, now there's 5. Okay.
There you go.
It will probably crash again in 20 minutes. Let's try to get through these fast. Okay. Let's see. So, after reading those trash books, I decided to... There were a lot of cute kids' books that came into the store last Tuesday. A lot of really cute ones. I didn't get a chance to read any of them except for this one, so this is the one I picked up and I read. Pink is for Boys by Rob Perlman and illustrated by Etta Cabin. And it was cute. It was very to the point. And it would basically say, like, pink is for girls and boys, or boys and girls, or whatever. It would say either variation, and then it would say, and it's also for, like, party clothes or something. And it would have, like, boys and girls both wearing it. And then, like, green is for, or, like, blue is for boys and girls. And for, like, sport uniforms. I would have them, like, playing baseball or whatever. And it was just, like, it was cute. It was to the point. The illustrations were very adorable. And, I mean, I think this is definitely a book that I needed when I was growing up, because I was a little jerk face, and I was totally one of those kids that was like, pink's a girl's color. I was full of it. So, yeah, I don't know. It was really cute and adorable, and I recommend if you get a second to, like, flip through it. It was very cute, so. You're gonna go get your other cat. Okay. Alright. So then, the next book that I ended up finishing, so I read the most of this back in May, but only just now did I get to finish reading it. Because it expired at the library and I had to wait to get it back. So Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi? I don't know how to say her name, because I'm terrible at it. This is very Percy Jackson-esque, but with Hindu mythology instead. And I liked it. I think I like it better than Percy Jackson. I haven't read Percy Jackson in a long time, but if you like Percy Jackson or like that idea, I recommend it. I don't know. I lost interest in Percy Jackson. I never actually ended up finishing the series because I just got, like, really bored with it. But this one, I think Aru is a really interesting character. You really want to finish Rick Riordan's books. You're so behind. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with him sometimes. He puts out a lot of content. This one is actually one of the Rick Riordan Presents, so I do think it's kind of, like, a little eye-rolly that it seemed so similar to Percy Jackson. Aru was a very interesting character, though. She's like a, oh gosh, what is that word I'm looking for? A compulsive liar? She lies about everything when there's no need, which I haven't seen very often that happened in Lily's Crossing. Lily lied all the time too in Lily's Crossing. But I think this is the only other like children's books that I've seen where the main character, a child, just lies all the time about everything. You want to read Pink is for boys. I like to remind people that historically pink was for boys. It's considered a masculine color. Yeah, and it's like, it became such like a gendered thing when companies started like marketing super like specifically and stuff for like baby clothes and things like that. And it's just, I don't know. I'm so sick of it. So, I recommend it though. It was really cute. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's such an outdated concept, especially considering like what a new concept it is. It just, yeah, it needs to not. Needs to not anymore. Anyone can wear and like whatever they want, so get over it. Anyway, Arusha in the End of Time. Yeah, she's like a compulsive liar. She lies about everything, and I thought that was really interesting. But you do have to keep in mind also that she's like a 10-year-old girl, so she's kind of dumb and makes kind of dumb decisions and stuff. But I thought her and Minnie's friendship was really cute, and I really enjoyed how feminist this book was as well. Like all the so basically, if you don't know, Aru like lives in this museum of like Hindu artifacts, and her mom's like always gone pretty much, and her mom like owns a museum, and her mom always told her like not to, that if this certain lamp ever gets lit, then the world will end. And then to impress some people who aren't even her friends, who are like total little brats, in order to impress these people, she ends up lighting it, and this really dark, powerful, evil being called the Sleeper comes awake, and he starts like putting the whole world to sleep, and his like demons come up and are gonna take over the world and stuff, and then she has to save it. And she's actually a demigod, essentially, like reincarnated, and there are other of them as well, and so she ends up meeting up with one of them called Minnie, who's also a girl her age, and they have to go and try to defeat the Sleeper. And I really did like that it was like two girls, and people, like the gods and stuff, were like, girls? Like, what? And they're like, like, whatever, like, it doesn't matter if we're girls or not. And they're like, but they were always reincarnated as males. And they're just like, get over it. We're girls. Suck it up. We need to save the world and stop the end of time. Like, ugh. And it was just like, it was fun. I enjoyed that like really feminist twist and stuff, and that like a lot of the characters were female. And yeah, it was fun and enjoyable, and I will be reading the sequel when it comes out. I do want to read Frog Kisser. When do you want to start, Lizzie? I did check it out from the library, so I have it for like another week and a half or so I can read it any time in that time. I'm fine with starting whenever, really, because, yeah, maybe after I finish, like, my next 1 or 2 books from the library. Your mom wants you for a bit. Okay. Now is good. All right, let's do it. Lizzie, do you have Voxer? Or you said your phone's out of commission right now. Do you want to just chat on Goodreads, or... I always like using Voxer for Buddy Reads, but you choose. I'm pretty chill with anything. Anyway, I thought that was cute. I don't think it was like the most like amazing children's book I've ever read. Like, I feel like I've definitely read better, but it was still enjoyable. Goodreads. Oh, Keisha's back. Hi, back. Hi. Again. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't crash again. We'll see. Goodreads, that sounds good. Yeah, let's have at it then. Okay, so then the next thing I ended up reading, so I ended up re-listening to The Case of the Missing Marquess by Nancy Springer. This is the first book in the Enola Holmes mystery series, which is a middle grade mystery series, and it's Sherlock Holmes's little sister. And I really, really, really love this series a lot. I read the first 4 back when I was like 13 or 14. And then the last 2 hadn't come out yet. And I never really got my hands on them. And I stopped reading for a few years. So this past year, I ended up going back, rereading the first 4, and then reading the last 2 for the first time. I just read earlier, I think in February. So just a few months ago. And then I reread this first book a little over a year ago. I read it in January 2017. So it's been like a little bit before I decided to reread this. But I decided to reread this because Chris said he was in the mood to read mysteries. And we drove down to Maryland and back. We drove down Thursday night and we just drove back up today. And so we wanted some mystery to read. And I was like, well, I really want you to read this series. Let's do it. And so we read this book together. Let me see. Did I not mark the other book as read? Let me see. Oh, we finished this one too, so there's another book that I read. Okay. Anyway, so I guess I'll talk about both of them together. So we ended up reading The Case of the Missing Marquess and The Case of the Left-Handed Lady. I really, really love this series. Let me see. What is anyone saying? You feel like you'll binge them. Yeah, I don't know if I ever have a desire to pick up Rick Riordan ever again. I think I've just lost all interest in him, but who knows, maybe in the future I'll change my mind. White House says by Amy Bloom. Oh, that sucks, Elizabeth. I read quite a few, like, 1 or 2 star books this week as well. Yeah, he's popping those series out. I think I know which book you're talking about. But let me pull it up just to be sure. Yes, this is the book I was thinking of. I hadn't been hearing anything about it, hype one way or another, but ooh, yeah, that's a low rating. I guess a lot of people didn't like it. Yes. Katie agrees with me. This series is awesome. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that introduced Katie to it, and her whole family read it because of me, I think, as well. I made Katie read a lot of books when we were younger, and I'm like, this is great! And I'd, like, shove it down her throat. She loved it. So Chris liked it. I don't think he loved it as much as me. Honestly, the series is better as a reread. It's good the first time around. If nothing else, it's extremely feminist and is very, like, interesting historically and talks about a lot of things. Like, it's very well researched and just fascinating. The writing is really funny, and Enola is a hilarious character. But rereading it, I absolutely loved this first book. The setup that she does with her books and, like, how much things that are talked about in, like, book 1 are, like, so, like, connected to the later books. It's really, really good. Like, it's really great writing. Like, looking at it from now, like, now having read, like, how the series ends. But yeah, Chris liked them. He did like both of them. I don't think he liked the second one as much, not to give too much away, but it focused on a theme that he doesn't really care about, which I agree. The second book is definitely the weakest link in the series, for sure. But I still really, really loved them, and he liked them as well. He doesn't like giving, like, star ratings, but I think he would say that, like, probably book 1 would be like a 4-star book for him, and then maybe book 2 would be a little bit more of like a 3-star or 3.5 star. But if he was, like, if I twisted his arm. But they're really good. I really recommend them. there's supposed to be a movie adaptation coming at some point. I think Millie Bobby Brown bought the rights and is going to produce and star in them. So we'll see if that actually happens. I really hope it does, but they're excellent. I really, really recommend them, and they're so feminist and so good, and one of my favorite series of all times. I think all of the books in the series are 5 stars for me, except for book 2 is more of a 4-star book. They're great. And I think they're really good for young readers too. And they talk about a lot of things that I think a lot of the stuff in them went over my head, but they talk about so many things. And I think Nancy Springer has a lot of, I don't know, like strength in her to like research these things and write about them for young audiences. I think it's really awesome what she did. So I recommend them. They're excellent, and Chris liked them too. So yeah, we read 1 and 2. I think this is like my 4th or 5th time reading this book, and it gets better every time. I think the older you get, the better this series gets as well, which I think is the true mark of a good children's book, is that it can appeal to adults just as much, if not more, than it does to children. Oh, that sounds depressing, Diana. Okay, I'm just reading chat. I was just talking about The Case of the Missing Marquess and The Case of the Left-Handed Lady. They're really good children's series. Oh, and the new covers I think are really cool as well. I like them, I think, much more than the old covers. Like, that's so great. Isn't that not one of the best covers ever? I just like them, and they look really good together as well. Like, my bookstore has the series because I've been getting people to buy it, and they look so nice next to each other. It's great. Anyway, book 2 is definitely the weakest, in my humble opinion. But they're so good. Anyway, the next book is actually a DNF for me. A Match Made in Spell by Regina Welling and Erin Lynn. I didn't realize it was co-written by 2 authors. Interesting. It's the first book in the Fate Weaver series, and I gave it 2 stars as a DNF. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't very good. After just having read two different witch books that were really good, I just didn't think this one lived up to it. So I just read, whoops. Yeah, I read Nina Tenlevin. I loved that series as well. Another good historical series, even though it's contemporary. Yeah, I loved book 3. Book 3 I thought was so fascinating. Okay, so a really good witch book that I just read was Realms of Ghost and Magic. First one in the Fey Witch Chronicles by J.S. Malcolm, and then Slouch Witch by Helen Harper. 2 really good, well done, with funny characters and super engaging, and like an interesting plot, but short and concise books. That's one more thing I need to say about Nancy Springer, is that the Enola Holmes series, each book is so short, they're each like less than 300 pages, that nothing she says is just for like the sake of it. Like, everything she says is so concise and to the point, and like even things that you don't think are relevant, everything is relevant in those books. So you have to be like super like aware while reading them, but they're so good. Anyway, I think the problem with this book, though, is that I just read 2 really good ones that I really enjoyed with characters that I really liked. So then when I read this with not very interesting characters, and I swear, like, it makes sense now that I'm looking at it that it's written by 2 different people, because it literally just felt like someone had a bunch of ideas and was, instead of like honing the story and making it fit into a storyline and progress like a natural book, instead they're like, these are all our ideas, and they just like shove them all into this one tiny little book. It's 225 pages. Like, you cannot fit that much into it, but there was everything. So much was jammed into this book, and it just felt so like sporadic. And even like, you'd think what like the big buildup of this was. I never really watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Growing up, I didn't have TV, so I watched a few episodes, but I didn't watch a ton. But I was talking to Chris about some of the plot in this book, and he's like, that is literally just Sabrina. That's Sabrina. That's Sabrina, like everything. Like, she even watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch growing up and named her cat Salem after it. It was just like it felt derivative, and I haven't seen an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch in like 8 years or something, and I barely watched any of it to begin with just because I didn't really have the opportunity. And the point that I was like, she named her cat Salem? Really? Like, the fact that I was like, what? That's so Sabrina. There was a problem. Anyway, Chris said it sounded extremely derivative, and it was like the big, like, what you would think the big resolution is, because the whole time she's like talking about this one certain thing, it's resolved like halfway through the story, and I was like, well, where is this going to go from here? I just didn't ever feel compelled to pick it up when I wasn't reading it. It wasn't engaging. It was just like over cluttered, and like it really needed half of the book edited out and more like development put in as well. Like, I felt very like, I feel like I had whiplash reading this book. It was really weird. I don't get that very often, but genuinely it felt like whiplash. Like, every time I'd like finally get into a scene and the characters would be talking, all of a sudden it was a different scene, and then it was a different scene, and then it was a different scene, and I was like, wait, what is even going on? So I don't recommend this book. I don't think it's very good, and it's not worth your time. And definitely read Realms of Ghost and Magic, or read Slouch Witch. Slouch Witch is really good, and I definitely recommend it way more over this one. Which just really confuses me because it has such a high rating on Goodreads, and I'm like, are people not reading the same book as me? This is the best review if you guys want to read it, by Barbara Hackle. I was reading her review to Christopher, and everything she said just makes no sense if you read this review. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash on Barbara, but Chris and I were reading it and we're like, what? That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. Her review was just saying, yes, this book is just like every other paranormal book, and it's super derivative, but what's really good about this book and why I gave it 5 stars is that she has really hot fairy godparents. And I was like, what the no! That's not why you rate a book 5 stars. Well, maybe that's why she rates a book 5 stars, but that's not why I would rate a book 5 stars. And I decided to give up on it. It's just not worth my time. Okay. Next book. Let's see. I'm sorry. I've missed. Let's see. Oh, that was nice of you, Diana. Trail of Terror, The Black Monk of Pointefract, Critical Creek Jail, Firehouse Phantom, and Other True Hauntings. Holy frick. Is that that's a mouthful. Was it? Well, you gave it 4 stars, so I guess it was good. Oh, Bruno, you're so funny. That sounds like what Chris and I do. You want to read all the Greek mythology now. That's totally understandable. But now you can catch up on Rick Riordan. That's Greek mythology. So the next book I ended up reading, it's silly, but I counted it anyway. The Little Golden Book, I Am a Droid. It was cute. I really am a fan of whoever's basically in charge of... Whoever's been designing the Little Golden Books recently, they're really good. I really am enjoying the art style, and they're just really engaging and really beautiful. They're really cute. And I decided to read this one because we don't have it at my bookstore, and so when I saw it at a thrift store, I picked it up and read it, and it was adorable. The art is really cute. It's basically just if you're a fan of Star Wars. It just talks about all the different types of droids. It was fun, it was adorable, but there was no real, like, substance to it. Oh, you're so... Nice, Bruna. I unfortunately can't do ghosts. I just don't like scary things. It was cute. But yeah, whoever's been doing the Little Golden Books recently, like whenever we get a new one in the bookstore, I'm like, these are so stinking cute. Like whoever's been doing them, A+. There's a really good Shrek one that I recommend if you like Shrek. The Little Golden Book is so cute. The art is just absolutely adorable. So Act Like It by Lucy Parker is book 1 in the, what is it called? London Celebrity series. And it's about actors, stage actors in London. And it was not the most engaging book. It was just... a bit ridiculous and contrived. I didn't love the characters. Like, it was fine, and I was actually liking it pretty well until the end when the main girl was just so stupid, and I wanted to slap her, and the guy forgave her for something that I would not have forgiven her for, and I think she was just kind of a twat. But I don't want to spoil it, so let's just leave it at that. I don't know. It was really like the last, like, 20% of the book that just made me not like it. It was okay. I was just disappointed. I've had this book on my TBR for a long time. Let's see. I only added it in January, but I've had it, like, on my radar for well over a year at this point, and I don't know. It just... everyone else seems to absolutely love it, and I would really, really, really disagree with Joanna right here. She said she thought it was a good slow build romance. I don't agree with that. I don't know. I just didn't think it was very good. And I really, really didn't, I don't know. I don't think she deserved the forgiveness that he so readily gave her. Oh dear. And then, to no one's surprise at all, I ended up rereading The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. For the third time. Well, only rereading it for the second time. This is my third time reading it this year. I don't know. I was just having a really bad day at work on Wednesday, and I was just feeling like really, really out of it all day. I had a really difficult time sleeping all week. And so I was just like really tired and grumpy and stressed out and all this stuff and not feeling well at all. And so then I was at work, and it was just sitting on the shelf, and I was like, I got it, man. And so I picked it up, and I physically read it this time. The other 2 times I listened to it, so I physically read it this time. I actually started on page 50, but then I read the whole thing, and then I went back and reread some of the scenes, and I don't know. So technically I didn't read the first 50 pages, but besides that, I read it, and it was just like, oh, it's so cute. Melody, totally you should reread it. It's worth it. I don't know, and it's, I don't know. It was just so fun, and it really reinvigorated, y'all know I'm an audiobook fiend, but it really reinvigorated me wanting to read physical books. Like, just the experience of reading it was so enjoyable, and I read like 200 pages of it in like one sitting, waiting for Christopher to come get me after work. He was running pretty late that day, and it was just like, ugh, it was so good. But I just finished it yesterday, and it was just, I would have finished it a lot sooner if we hadn't like gone out of town. But if you've been wanting to read The Hating Game at all, it's really cute. I really love it. I love the characters, and I forgot how much I love the dialogue and the characters. Just her writing is so funny and so enjoyable. So I reread The Hating Game. So 1, 2, 3 4 5 6 7 8. So I read 8 books this week. 3 children/short stories, and I DNF'd 1 book. So I had a pretty good reading week. But yeah, it was good. This one I'm leaving my rating at 4 stars for this one. But originally when I read The Case of the Missing Marquess, I rated it 4 stars, but I bumped it up to 5 on this reread because it was so good. Anyway, yeah, it was a good reading week, and some of the books that I read at the end were a lot better, but like 2 star, 2 star, 3 star, 1 star, 2 star, like I was pretty disappointed in a lot of the books I read, but I did get a 5 star and 2 reread 5 stars as well. So it was really good. I think I just got a little bit sulky by some of them. Who killed these girls? Sounds so depressing, Elizabeth. Okay, so that's what's going on currently. What I'm currently reading right now is I'm reading The Arctic Incident by Owen Colfer still. I've been reading this for like over a week. I just need to finish it. But I am enjoying it. I just haven't been super in the mood for fantasy. I've been really in the mood for contemporary, in case you couldn't tell, so I've been indulging in that. Equal Rights is still on my list, but I haven't touched it. Half a Keen is still on my list, but I haven't touched it. The Night Circus is still on my list, but I haven't touched it. I just haven't been in the mood for fantasy. Foundation, I'm a little bit further in. I'm close to the halfway point now. I'm up to William the Second? Not William the Second, why did I say that? Henry the Second. So William the First, William the Second, Henry the First, Stephen, Richard, John. I'm right at the end of John and going into Henry. And it's it's interesting. It's finally picking up. I don't know. At the beginning, it was talking about, like, pre-Kings, pre the current monarchy in England history, which I wasn't as interested in. I really just wanted to, like, learn about the Kings. And it says from the earliest beginnings to the Tudors, so I knew it had some of the earliest things, but I just didn't care about that part as much. So it took a while for me to get engaged. But then really once he started talking about, like, William and then William II is when I really started getting invested, because I don't know a ton about the time period of those. Like, I know, like, the poem of, like, the Kings and, like, the little snippets about them, but I really don't know too much, and not nearly as much as I'd like to. So it is interesting, and it is picking up, and I am getting a lot more engaged. But yeah. Yeah, I think I'm still in John's reign currently, but I'm enjoying it. Let me see. And then One Real Thing. So Samantha Young is the author of the On Dublin Street series. Let me see. Let's pull it up. On Dublin Street, which I liked. This series a bit is kind of hit and miss for me. I really, really didn't like book 4 at all, and I thought book 6.5 was a waste of time. But everything else I've liked, and I really, really did like book number 3. But the only problem is that this book, On Heart's Boardwalk, the On Dublin Street meets Heart's Boardwalk, that just came out, I was like, oh, I want to read that, but I can't. I have no desire to read Stars Over Castle Hill. No desire at all. And I have no desire to read either of these two. So all I need left to read is Valentine and then this one. But I can't read this one because I need to read her frickin' Heart's Boardwalk series first. So there's only 2 books, so I decided I'll probably just read them really quickly this month. I'll be able to read On Heart's Boardwalk, and then I'll be done. And I just picked up Valentine, so I'll be able to read that as well. So I just really want to power through the rest of those, and then I'll be, like, caught up on everything by her. Let me see. What are people saying? Sorry, I got distracted. You haven't DNF'd any yet. Well, that's good. I haven't read any true crime yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll hate it. I really, 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 really like Terry Pratchett's writing. I think he's one of the funniest authors I've ever read. He's absolutely hilarious. It just takes me a long time to get through his books. But I think part of that also is that I just, like, savor it, and every time I'm reading it, I'm just, like, chortling with laughter. Aykroyd has had a new one getting ready to come out. It's Victorian era. Yeah, I think I saw that as part of that series. I'm excited. I mean, I'm, like, interested in this time period, but I'm really excited to get to, like, some of the newer ones as well. The time periods that I really, really would like to get to, like, the Tudor era, and I don't know if he's going to cover all of the Tudor area, if he's going to, like, pick up after James I or before James I or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm enjoying it a lot more now than I was before. 53 Goodreads messages. When my anxiety hits, it makes me not check them. And that's how I get them. And I still haven't built up the courage to look at them yet. I don't discuss my email messages. Same. Yeah, Bruna, I'm not good at doing that. You go on there seems to be something wrong with it. Oh no. Oh my gosh, Lizzie, that's so funny. That's the year after I was born. I don't know. A lot of people think that reading them in their own little sets is the best way to read Discworld. I'm personally reading publication, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But I don't know if that's just me. but I am enjoying it publication wise, and I think The Color of Magic is a really fun place to start. It's utterly ridiculous, and it's really, I don't know, like, I think it just, like, has a nice set-off tone to the whole Discworld. I'm gonna need to go get some more water and go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Hopefully it doesn't crash while I'm gone. Okay. Aw, Discworld someday. You can't think about Discworld while you have 100 of Agatha Christie's. Yeah. There are a lot of Discworld. But there's not as many as Agatha Christie. I think there's only, like, less than 50. The only thing I would say is if you're going to read Color of Magic first, I definitely recommend reading The Light Fantastic next, because it's a direct sequel with the same characters. So, that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say to start with more or the Witches series. Death is one of my favorite characters, though, so I'm really excited to get to more. Death is so funny. Sorry, I'm just laughing thinking about how great he is. You've only read 4 so far. Oh no. Okay. The only Agatha Christie book I've ever read is, and then there were none. Because I'm very basic. That book gave me so much anxiety. I had to read it in one sitting because I was like, how's it gonna end? How's it gonna end? So yeah, anyway, I'm currently reading, oh geez, I'm currently reading One Real Thing. The thing about this though is that I was really, really loving how they were setting it up at first, and now that I'm a little bit further into it, I'm not as in love with it, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm about halfway through, so it better get good again. The other book that I'm currently reading right now, Summers at Castle Auburn. I just started it today. This is one that Tantor sent me the audio for, because Tantor is awesome. I'm like this far through the book. I own the physical book. It's a book I was physically planning on reading, and then Tantor picked up the audio, which I think is really cool. I definitely feel like this is a book I would have loved when I was like 15, but I'm not really loving it now. She's like super like obsessed with the prince and is like in love with the prince even though he's a twat, and I don't understand her, that she's like so like all over him even though he's such a ugh. And also there's like fairies, and the fairies are their slaves, but she's friends with the fairies, and then they go on like, she goes on like a little expedition to try to catch some fairies, and then she comes back and the fairies that she's friends with are like, did you catch any while you were out? And she's like, oh no, we didn't catch any this trip. And they look relieved because they don't want their family members being caught and their kin being caught. And she's like, oh yeah, I've never thought about how I just went out hunting some of your kind, huh? And I'm like, really? This girl's just so oblivious, and honestly, she's kind of pissing me off. It's definitely something that I think I would have liked before, but now I'm just having a hard time being okay with this character because she's a bit of an idiot. So anyway. I did not watch that. I've never seen an adaptation of Agatha Christie. Good night, Libby. Thanks for being here. Oh, you were waiting all day. Oh, I'm so sorry, Judith. Oh, I'm sorry. It's been a bit of a rocky time, so it like crashed like 4 times, so it'll probably crash again. If it crashes again, you guys, I think I might just have to call it quits for the day. Anyway, though, y'all, I don't know which one of you it was, but who's told me to get Scribd? Who said it? Who said it like a week ago and was like, it's really, you should try it, Giselle, blah blah blah. Who said it? Because I was like, no, I've heard bad things about Scribd, blah 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 blah. Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but I think I'm gonna get it tomorrow. What does unlimited with an asterisk mean? Access to an unlimited number of books and audiobooks. Some restrictions on some titles may apply. Interesting. I think it was you, Elizabeth. Well, because they rolled out the unlimited program. Yeah, I've been looking at it, and I think I'm gonna start it. The big draw to me for Scribd, you did the free 30-day trial, but since you were in a reading slump, you just didn't enjoy it. Yeah, it's for the audiobooks that I get it. I think if you read too much, they stop you on how many brand new releases you can read. Well, that sucks. That's irritating, but a lot of the books that I want are backlist books, so I don't think that's a huge deal for me. and I'll still be able to get books from the library. So my biggest thing for this is looking at like Lisa Kleypas. She's the first one that I saw it with. If we look at the audiobooks, I mean, I've already read this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and I own this one. I've read this one. I think that's all the ones that I've read by her that are on here. But they have all these other ones, like I own Secrets at a Summer Night, but I don't have Devil in Winter or It Happened One Autumn. This is part of the Wallflower series. Book 1 in the Wallflower series is, again, The Magic. It's like a 0.5, which I read and it was okay. But then they have all the other books that are part of the Wallflower series. And that's just like the biggest thing. Like, even if I read one Lisa Kleypas book off of here a month, that's going to be cheaper than me buying it on Audible, which is what I'll have to do because they don't have them at my library and they can't even get them, so I can't even request that they buy them. And so that's like a really huge seller for me. Same thing with like Mary Balog. Mary Balog. Is that some of her books that Tantor picked up recently are accessible to me from the library? Oh gosh, did I spell her name wrong? I know they had some of her books. Oh, there they are. I don't know why they weren't popping up. Anyway. I listened to a whole bunch when they had it for like a month and I stopped for a bit. That is worth the price, yeah. Listen to all the Wayward series on there. See, I can get the Wayward books from my library, so it's not a thing I've ever been like concerned about with a lot of books, but there are some books that my library can't get, so I was gonna have to get them on Audible. You just listen to how many you want, yeah, is essentially how it is. Elizabeth said that she thinks that they limit you on new releases if you read a ton on there. But there's also no time limit as well, which I think will help with like the stress of being like, now I have to get through this book really quickly. Yeah, so it's like Netflix for books. So like for Mary Balog, like all the books that look like this, the Slightly series and also the Simply series, I can get, but everything else on here, so the Simply books I can get as well through my library, but everything else on here I was gonna have to buy. So the Horseman series, this series I read Someone to Love, but I was gonna have to buy the other ones. So Someone to Wed, Someone to Hold, Someone to Care, Only Beloved, Forgiven, Only a Kiss. That's gonna be awesome. Like, there's so many on here that I'm just like, I think it's really, really worth it. Only Enchanting, Only a Promise. Like, all of these. My library doesn't have any of them except for the Slightly and the Simply books, and they can't get them either. Yeah. And that's the thing as well where I'm like, ooh, I have to be careful of that. I think if you sign up through certain like people online that you can get like 2 months free instead of 1, so I'm gonna have to look into that. She's flipping out. Oh, good. And Elizabeth totally told me to go look it up, and I was like, no, blah blah blah, and I didn't. But then I did look into it, and it's also really nice is that you can very easily split it with someone else, and you can just create your own little like lists under your saved thing and have just like a different file for the different things, and then you won't have like, I think you can add books to however many lists you want and stuff, and it's very simple. I also found a lot of books on there that are part of they're from the Rita, because on the book bingo that Sarah's doing, Sarah and Sissy are doing on the book bingo, there's like to read a Rita 2017 book, or I guess it's a Rita 2018 book, but the books that came out in 2017, and they had several on there that I'm like, oh, I could read that. That's perfect. So like, I just think it makes sense. But yeah, Elizabeth totally told me, and I was a little snob about it, and I apologize. Okay. So let me see. These were like the two big authors, but there were other books on here as well. She had that Potion to Die For by Heather Blake, and she has some other books that I've just been very interested in. I think once I finally get my subscription, then I'll go through and like add a ton of these. She has the Patricia Briggs The Hobbs Bargain, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I'm interested in. There's like a decent amount of like nonfiction and pretty new nonfiction that I'm interested in. A lot of like general like whatever like historical fiction and stuff. But a lot of books on my list, and a lot of them I can get through my like Audible romance subscription or through the libraries or whatever, but I did end up making this. I ended up in the car going through Scribd and comparing it to Hoopla and Audible books that I already own and Audible romance. And the S's stand for Scribd, H stands for Hoopla, and AR stands for Audible romance, and there's so little overlap. Like, Hoopla and Scribd each had this one, and Hoopla Scribd had each this one, and then just Scribd, and then Hoopla and Scribd, and then Scribd, Hoopla and Scribd, Hoopla and Scribd, Hoopla and Scribd, Hoopla and Scribd, and then I ran into my first one that wasn't available on Scribd, but that was available on Hoopla and on Audible Romance, and then Hoopla and Scribd, Hoopla Scribd and Audible Romance, Scribd, Hoopla, like, you get the picture. There were so many that were available only on Scribd or on Scribd and Hoopla that I'm like, man, I think this is really gonna be worth it for me. And like, there's a ton of books on there that like, a ton of books that I'm interested in reading that aren't on there, but I think it's okay. I think there's enough for me to deal with. I don't know if you lose your books. You never own the books in the first place, so I just think you can't listen to them anymore. I think it's how it would work, but I'm not sure. I've never tried it. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, Bruna. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'll let you guys know how it goes once I finally get it, but there were so many that I was so excited to see. And there was a ton of books. Like, I've already probably put like 400 books on my like wish list on here. There's a lot. And that's not even including like, I didn't stick like every book by authors. I just stuck like one of each. They have Undead Girl Gang, which I'm really excited to read because Lala was freaking out about it. They have some Julia Quinn. Ursula K. Le Guin, Diana Wynne Jones. Oh! And one of the biggest sellers for me right now is that they have the Nancy Springer series Rowan Hood, which I have never... My library doesn't have it on audio, so I was going to have to buy them. And I really love that series, and I really want to reread them, especially after rereading Enola Holmes and loving it so much. I'm so excited to reread Rowan Hood, and they have them, and I'm so excited. It depends on how much you read, Elizabeth. So, the thing about Audible versus Scribd is that Audible, you're buying the book, and Audible does have a really good return policy, so if you hate a book, you can return it or whatever, but this is more similar to like the Audible romance package. It's just like Netflix. You're just like renting the books, and you can access them whenever you want or whatever, but you're not owning them. So this one I think is only $9 a month, where like Audible is either $15 or $22 a month, depending on how you do it. If you want 1 credit or 2 credits, but that's... And then with Audible, you have to buy each book individually. So like if you can use your credit and then you can buy however many other books you want. But audiobooks are really expensive, and some of them are like $80 or whatever. So you can like buy the cheaper books and have them like 30% off, but if you... I don't know. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really awesome, and like I said, there's so many on here that aren't available through the other things. I think I'm going to have to delete my Audible romance, like, not delete. I think I'm going to have to cancel the audiobooks, the Audible romance package, if I get this, but if I can get the first month or 2 free, maybe I don't have to cancel until I actually have to start paying for it. You just go, you go Lizzie. You go up to your thing, you go to account details, and then it will make you sign in again, and then on the side right there it will say past orders, I think is what it is. You just click on past orders, and then it will say that you can, like, if you want to return the books or whatever, you can do it from the past year. So if you've bought a book within the past year, you can return it on there. No questions asked. And some libraries do make you pay to have a library card, so this is a really good option for people who have that, where they have to pay a fee to use their library. A library with no queue, good point. You don't have to do it from your computer. If I do it on my phone, I prefer to do it, I prefer to scroll down to the bottom and hit the, like, view full site, because I like how it's structured better. I think you can do it on the normal, like, phone site, though. You can't do it on the app, though, because at least you can't do it on the Apple app. I'm not sure about Android. Anyway, so Scribd, I think, is really going to be worth it, though. I'm genuinely so excited. They have some Karen Cushman, some Gregory Maguire. I'm most excited about the Nancy Springer, though. I'm really excited about Nancy Springer. They have Her Body and Other Parties. They have the Leonardo da Vinci biography by Walter Isaacson. They have Grant by Ron Chernow, so I'm not going to have to worry about, like, having to return it to the library and not being able to read it in time. Like, that's going to be an awesome thing. I'm really excited about, like, not having to stress about the timeline and just read at my own pace, because I think reading at my own pace is going to make me want to read it even more. Yeah. I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna work really well, and I made my short-term TBR like a few weeks ago, and I think I want to refresh it and see how I like it. I mean, if I'm still interested into the same books or whatever, like currently interested in the same books. I am still interested in the long-term basis, but I want to see if my short-term is still the same. But I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it, and multiple people can use it as well, which will be awesome. So like I'll be able to like give it to Chris, and Chris will be able to look at it. I'm just trying to see if there's like any more that really stood out to me, being like, yes, this is another one of why I really, really want it. Space Opera by Catherine M. Valente I really want to read. They have The Merry Spinster by Mallory Ortberg, which I'm excited about. Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, which I really want to re-listen to. They have some Kathy Maxwell, some older Kathy Maxwell. Sophie Kinsella. They have some Sarah McLean. Anne Bishop. They have The Hating Game on there by Sally Thorne if you want to read it. They have some Jill Shalvis. Like, a lot of these things are lapping over with other things that I have, but so many of them are so unique. They have some Mercedes Lackey, Julia Quinn. They have some Kristen Ashley that my library can't get. There's just a lot. They have a lot of Gail Carson Levine, which I'm very excited because there's a few books that I still need to finish by her, and I'll just be able to pick them right up. And one of the things that I think is really funny, let's see. Yeah. It's not so much that, it was like the separate paychecks is just like the money at all being spent, but I don't know, we'll have to see. And maybe if I get Chris hooked on this, he'll let me keep both. Not let me. I mean, I could do whatever I want technically, but we should just be conscientious about it. Anyway, going through, also, I ended up seeing this book, A Rogue of My Own, by Joanna Lindsay. And I think this is the first romance book I ever read, like way back when I was like 14. And I've been like looking for it, which it would make sense because it was in hardcover and the library had just gotten it and it was like on the new release section or whatever. And this is the year that I turned 14. So that makes sense. I think I finally found my first romance book, and I remember reading it and being like, wow, I hated that. That was so bad. I'm pretty sure that's this book. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember it had a yellow cover and that she was standing on a staircase. And this is the first book with a yellow cover that she's standing on a staircase that I was able to find. So I think this is it. And it came out, that's the right timeline. So I think this is the first romance book I ever read as well. And I wouldn't have found that if it weren't for Scribd, so just another thing. They have the same amount as your local library. Yeah, and some of them my library doesn't have, some of them I do, but there's just like enough on there that I'm very, very, very tempted by it. And then as soon as I make an account, it means I'll actually be able to Chris is walking around, it's confusing me. Hi. I'll actually be able to like start organizing them into all the little shelves and stuff. I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm hoping there will be books that he wants to listen to as well. A Rose in Winter by Rosamund Dujardin. I don't know that one. Was it good? I don't remember liking this one, and apparently a lot of other people didn't as well. Like, it doesn't have a great rating, so I don't know. Let me see. What is her name? Sarah without an H. Oh, also I'm 25, not 15. Oh, Sarah, you're so funny. In her most recent video, well, there's this one too. But in her most recent wrap-up, this is 2 months free of ebooks and audiobooks with Scribd, which is the thing that kind of prompted me as well. That I was like, oh, you get 2 whole months free if you sign up with someone who is like sponsored by Scribd, or not sponsored. I think she just has a link or whatever. I wonder if I can set up my own link. But anyway, I think I'm going to do this, and I think it's going to be great. So I guess go to Sarah's channel and click on her May reading wrap-up if you want 2 months instead of 1 month. Kathleen Woodowis? Anyway, I was watching her wrap up, and I was just like, someone was telling me about Scribd, and she said it was unlimited again. I was just like, okay, let me look into it, and I'm highly intrigued. Anyway, if you guys want to get the link, this is Sarah's link. And I think they give her like an extra month free or something. So that's Sarah's link. Wait, why are you saying sorry? Why are you saying sorry? Don't be sorry. Anyway. Oh. I'm very excited to start it though, and I'm ready to go ham on it. Getting you hooked on Scribd. I know, I'm already like obsessed with it, and I haven't even started it yet. Oh, another good thing, they have a ton of Julie Garwood on there too. Like, y'all were telling me how much you like Julie Garwood. Well, they have a lot of her stuff. And that's another author that I was gonna have to buy them all on Audible, because my library couldn't get like any of them except for like maybe 4 of them. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. They have like 40. They have more than 40. So yeah, it's both ebooks and audiobooks. I'm only looking at the audiobooks, honestly. I don't care about the ebooks, but they are there. I could also get Too Wild to Wed by Eloisa James, which is her newest book. They have quite a few Samantha Young books that they don't have at my other library. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited about this. And I'm very excited to finally sign up for it so that I can start organizing everything. I think I'm going to set it up in a similar way as my Goodreads TBR, of having like a high, a medium, a low TBR, or like a current high, medium, low priority TBR. So I have like 4 different TBRs, and then maybe have some other subsections on top of that of like having like historical romance, contemporary romance, nonfiction, like different subsections on top of that. You always feel the same way when you get people hooked on something that costs money. Oh, bye, Diana. Thank you for being here. I think I should probably get going soon, too. My throat is starting to hurt, and I have work in the morning, and I haven't gotten a lot of sleep this week, so... But, yeah. Anyway, I'm just trying to think if there's anything. At some point, I really want to go through and be a little bit... Are you using the 2 months free Melody? I hope so. It's worth it. And it supports Sarah, and Sarah's awesome, so yeah. You're gonna need to go soon too, yeah. It's getting late. So Ruben, like, I need to go through and move stuff to my physical TBR off my, like, audio TBR and stuff. I need to go through and, like, go through my want to read section and my physical, move books that are on my physical TBR that have been turned into audiobooks back onto my audio TBR, and then go through and make sure these are prioritized correctly. And I just have a lot of organizing that I need to do on my Goodreads, and I meant to do that tonight, but then there were all the technical problems and stuff. So anyway, I guess we'll sign off for tonight then. Thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully I'll be able to do another live stream with a lot less horrendousness. Maybe I'll do a live stream of me organizing my script when I finally sign up for it. I just need to bite the bullet. It's just that I don't want to sign up for it if I know I'm not going to use it instantly. So I'm like, well, I have these other books that I'm currently reading, so I need to wait till I'm done reading those, and then I can sign up, because, you know, I want to use every single day to maximum amount. Anyway, I'm sorry that I was a bad influence on you, that I'm making you sign up for Scribd. Anyway. Get it when you can focus on it once in a while. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. My Goodreads shelves look like your computer desktop. I will check out your message if you send it to me. And yes, let's start tomorrow if that works for you. Anyway, good night everyone. Thank you for being here and chatting with me. It's always a pleasure. And I will see you probably for sure next Sunday. Bye everyone. Sorry for the double screen.